guys, and thank you so much for joining me. Today I'm going to be showing you how I put a large image on a hoodie. So last time I did sublimation video, it was just a small image that was able to fit on one page. But now we want this to be across the entire hoodie, so we need to make the image much larger. In order to execute that, I'm going to be using Microsoft Word, and then I'll use Adobe Reader to print. Adobe Reader is for PDFs, and if you do not have it, I can inform you that it is free to download. Okay, so the image that I'm creating today is for a preteen's birthday. It is a video game character. Now, personally, I've never heard of this character before, but once the mom gave me the name, I was able to Google the character and download some images to use for this design. So the first thing we're going to do is go into Word, and we're going to open up a blank document. Next, we're going to change the layout into landscape orientation. Then we're going to pull in our images. So I'll go insert pictures from file, and I'll select the first image that I'm going to use. Again, I found this off Google. This is a standard JPEG, and this is how the image looks. Okay, so now that I have the image, there is some things we need to do to the image to create the design that I want. First, I'm going to remove the background because I just want the character herself. In order to do that, I'm going to go to remove background, and you can either mark the areas that you want to keep, or you want to mark the areas that you want to remove or take away. I just want the character herself. I don't need the green or the blue background that was back there. So I'm going to mark the areas that I want to keep, and I'm just going to mark everything that I want to keep. Okay, so there's a little part of her hair here we need to keep on the tip there. And then her body at the bottom, her dress, her hair. It's just a little corner of hair there. Right, so we're going to keep the changes. And now we have the actual image we want to work with. Next, you want to go to wrap text, and you want to put behind text. This is going to allow you to add any type of words, text, or images around or on top of the image. Also in wrap text, you want to select fixed position on page. Doing that will allow you to move the image all around the page. Next, I'm going to bring in the other picture that I have. And this is just going to be a crown or a tiara that I found on Google, so I could place on top of her head as part of the design. Okay, so I'll bring that in. And again, this has a background on it, so we want to remove this background. Now it already shows the majority of the crown here to keep. It's just some pieces around the edges that I need to keep. So I'm going to mark areas to keep and clean up these little edges here to make sure it's going to be shown. Okay. The other thing here is I see that the triangles at the bottom, some are transparent, like you could see through them, and some are not. So I want to make sure that they're all transparent. So I'm going to change my icon to mark areas to remove, and I'm just going to remove these little white triangles. Okay, now it's more uniform. Keep the changes, And now you can see through the tiara, which makes it look like it gives the effect that it will be sitting on top of her head. We need to do the same thing in wrap text. So we're going to put it this time in front of the text because we want it in front of the character to give the illusion that the crown is actually sitting on her head. And then we're also going to fix the position on the page. Again, doing this will allow you to move the image freely around the page. So I'll size this up and sit it on top of her head. Very cute. The last component to this design is I'm going to add the name. So we'll insert word art. Find a cute little design for the name. And I'll add her name. Okay, now I have a font that I want to use for her name. It's like a digital font, so it kind of looks like a video game. So I'll change that. And we'll make it bigger. 72 is the largest, and I may need it to be a little bigger. Yeah, so I'm going to manually just change the size to maybe 100. Yes, that works better for me. Perfect. Okay, so also on the name, I'm going to change the color to blue, which is kind of the main color on the photo. Yes, that's cute. And then I'm going to add a glow to it. Maybe one of these blues here. Perfect. So that's my image and that's what I want to use. The next step, we're going to save it twice. So we're going to save it as a PDF, which is how we're going to print it. And then we're going to save it just as it is in Word so that if we ever need to go back, make any changes, or if you want to use this template again and maybe change the name or remove the crown, we can have the design saved and we can do that in the future. Okay. So first we're just going to save this. And then I'm going to put her name. Put Ray. Save. And then we're going to save it as a PDF. So File, Save As. We have her name already on here, but we're changing the file format to PDF. And we're going to export it. The next step is going to be to find the file. That we just created. So we're looking for the PDF we just created. So we downloaded it as a PDF. So I'm just going to search in my downloads. And here it is, Ray PDF. So here we are, here's the image, and we're gonna go to print. So when we print it, it's right here. We had it as landscape, so it is in a landscape mode. So this is gonna print on a single 8.5 by 11 inch sheet of paper, which is gonna be too small for us. Because I wanted to encompass the entire hoodie, we need to make this much larger. So we're going to go to poster. Okay. So when we have it at poster, it's showing you, okay, so we're going to make it a poster. We're going to have to split it into 2 pages. Now, splitting it into 2 pages here, is it making the image any bigger? it's making the same size image print amongst 2 pages. What we need to do is enlarge this, so we're going to go to tile scale and enlarge it to 150. And that's going to make our image bigger. So now when we print it, and they're saying it's going to be amongst 4 pages, it's going to print like this. So the image is going to print amongst 4 pages, and then we would have to put the pages together how they're seen here in the preview. Okay, so we're going to go to our printer settings. And this is basically saying you can't go to your printer settings in Adobe, so it's going to take you to your computer system settings. Okay, so I'm selecting my printer, media quality, which is the paper we need, is photo matte paper. This is the paper that's used for when we use sublimation paper to print. This is what you want to use to get the best outcome. Okay, and then we'll put quality as best, so you slide it all the way down to best. And that's pretty much everything. The one other thing you would need to do is flip horizontally, because anytime we are using heat to transfer anything, you always want to flip horizontally or mirror the image. Now this was already mirrored in PDF from my previous settings, so it's already in the correct mode. It's already flipped horizontally. So I'm not going to check it here, because when I look at my preview, I can see her name is backwards. So that means that it's already flipped and we can print it as is. So I just want to go into the printer settings and make sure everything is correct. The 2720 printer, photo matte paper. So now we can print. And that's how we print a larger image amongst multiple pages. And if you look here, the preview is going to tell you how many pages it is. Just as an example, if I decide I want to scale it larger at 200%, you'll see that it changes. Okay, now you want 200%, so now it's going to be spread amongst 6 pages. So I'll change this back to 150. And I'm going to need 4 sheets of sublimation paper. I'm going to be using A-sub paper as I normally do. So we'll go ahead and print this, and I'll come back and show you how it comes out. Then we can piece it together as it's seen in the preview. All right, guys, so we have our 4 pages all printed out. The next step is to piece it together. But before we do that, we want to remove the white edges from each page so that the pieces will go smoothly together. If we don't remove the white edges, as you can see, once we piece it together, there will be gaps in the image from the edges of the paper. So I'll go ahead and cut off the white edges so we'll have a smooth connection for the image. And once that's done, we'll piece it together and we'll be ready to press it onto the hoodie. All right, guys, so we're all set. I have pieced the 4 pages together. I cut off the white edges of each individual sheet. I puzzled them together, and then I taped it across the back seams to hold it in place. After that, I just cut around the edges to remove the excess paper that was there. So now we're ready to go ahead and press it. Now, I was informed that they actually want the print to be on the back of the hoodie. So we need a larger image. So what I did was I used the same saved PDF and I printed it at a scale of 200 to make it larger. That gave us 6 sheets of images. So I did the same process. I cut off the white edges of the sheets. I pieced them together and I came up with a larger image, which is this one. So that's large enough to fit on the back of the hoodie. Okay, so as you see, I did the same exact process and I taped it along the back seams. And just cut around the image to take off the additional paper. At this point, we are ready to press. Now, of course, as you know, in order to sublimate onto any type of fabric or material, it must be polyester. This hoodie here is 85% polyester. Okay? My settings on my Easy Press here, I have set at 400 degrees and we're gonna press it for 60 seconds. So I'm gonna line the image up how I want it to reflect on the hoodie. Alright guys, so this is our finished product. It came out so well. I'm pretty sure she's going to love it. She loves this character, so, and the pink hoodie really makes it pop. I love it so much. And here is the final product. As you can see, this is embedded in the fabric. It's not on top of the fabric. So we're all set. Thank you so much for joining me. If you have any questions, please put them down in the comments. Remember to like, share, and subscribe. Also hit the notification bell so you know when I come back with more content. Thank you again for joining me, guys. Bye.